Oh yeah.
Turn your fucking notifications off,
That do.
you peasant.
Didn't you just say that?
Yes, I did. Kids don't listen, Bill.
Do you
Turn
want
your
to see the whole clock or half the clock? Oh, you actually
Ah.
tell me now.
Do you know what time it is? Taking notes, coach? Or are you just going to wing it?
You know me.
I do.
What are you going to take notes about?
Oh, it's all up there. I'm Dion. I'm here with
Nathan.
Bill?
And,
There you go.
we haven't worked it out this time.
episode 3 of the Dubious Counsel. Today we're talking about cavalry and monsters. I'm Dion. I'm here with
Nathan.
And Bill. All right. So, guys, let's talk about cavalry first. And then we'll talk about monsters. And then we'll talk about monstrous cavalry. So,
bring it all together.
It's good. Just wrap it up. So, essentially, we'll talk about the two different roles of cavalry, or the different roles of cavalry first. Let's start. I know Bill hates going first, so we'll start with Coach. So what do you see the different roles of cavalry like when you have mounted warriors? What are their purposes?
It depends on what the warrior you have is. Like, you've got obviously different generic stat ones. You got
that's the question I'm asking.
Yeah, but you just said your different roles. I mean, it depends on which actual units you're using, right? I think if you've got more of your there's cavalry that generally will have lances or something to increase their killing power. They might be like high strength or something. And then there's some
what are they used for?
Just killing stuff. Just run in, hit things hard, knock things over, break through lines.
Give them the old does.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly.
That's right.
And then there's other there's more unique things. Something like I mentioned it in another video. I think the Rohan Outriders, which are quite low defense. They're not going to just charge in and knock something over and kill it because they don't have a lance. They're not high strength. They don't have any of those bonuses. Mm-hmm. But they have their own unique. They still move fast. And in their case specifically, they pass courage checks with any stand fast on the battlefield. So for them, you can use them to race out and hold objectives.
Still knock things over.
Yeah, if you have to, you're still a cavalry model. You can still charge something.
So
yeah.
Bill, what are the pros of cavalry? What are the things that they do that other things don't do?
I don't know. You probably get two. I guess they're 3 rules really. So you got your movement. So obviously you move further. Simple as that. But then also you get +1 attack for on the charge, and then if you do win that fight, then they are knocked over. So there's 3 rules that you get for free just for taking a horse.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my next question. What's the con? Because I don't really see them as, you don't get them for free because you end up paying almost double for a cavalry model. So essentially they're at their worst. I think they're just very expensive infantry. So cavalry look cool, and utilizing them effectively, I think is a pretty big thing that you need to do to get their points back. So let's start with, I guess, combat cavalry, we'll call them. Bill, what are the things in their profile that you look for in a combat cavalry?
Oh, depends what you're playing, really. So something like, if you're looking for something in an evil, the first thing I would probably look at is, if you're playing Mordor, would be a Morgul Knight. Fight 4, lance, defense 6, armored horse as well. Cool. So you're probably still wounding it on 6s. It's fight 4, and it's +1 to wound when it runs in and charges.
Yep.
Or a best 21 5s. You're not going to actually get them fight 4s or anything like that.
Yeah.
The Raiders are sort of the same, but low defense. Fight 3 from Heredrium.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just those ones, because obviously being a 20 to their 20 points, you can go from 12 to 23 points for a cav model.
How many points is like a Minas Tirith Knight?
14 with a shield. I think they're 13, and you pay a point for a shield. Dirt cheap. Fight 3 though, but still defense 6.
In saying that though, like they're not super cheap because all it takes is a 6, and it's like
it's like 2 warriors and 2 of them on foot as well. You know, like
yeah.
And they're like some of your cheaper end cavalry.
So, Morganites, very good. They also cause terror.
I forgot that. Yeah.
What are other like good like pure combat cavalry? The better ones, Coach.
I think just looking at stat lines, the most important thing if you want cavalry to specifically charge in and kill things, you either want to be strength 4 or have a lance. At like that's your baseline. You want to have one of those 2 things. If you can have both, I think there's like Iron Heels Cav.
Yeah, they're stupid. The double knockdown. Yeah.
Strength 4 lances in the game besides heroes.
I think so, actually.
Oh, Mahood, camels.
Yeah.
Do they have lances?
Yeah, they have war spears.
I
think it's strength 4, right?
I know they're fight 4. They might have. No, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Possibly. Someone else.
Again, I can't remember. I know Iron Hills Goat Riders are 1, and I feel like there's a second.
Yeah, they're stupid. Rivendell don't have a lance?
They have a lance, but they're only strength 3.
I think, yeah, so because either of those, because the lance gives you on the charge +1 to wound, which is just like a 2 weapon. Really, really good. And even just being strength 3 and having a lance gives you more than enough. If you hit something and knock it over, you get your 4 attacks. You can probably kill something.
Yeah.
Even things like Warg Riders that are they're just an Orc on a Warg. The profile is quite average, but they get the strength 4 from the Warg. Knocking something over and getting 4 strength 4 attacks gives you a pretty good chance to try and kill it.
Yeah, for sure.
Outside of heroes. So I think, yeah, probably the 2 best ones would be, well, your best one would be classic Goat Riders. They're defense 6. They have a long strength 4.
And they knock you over when they hit you before anything happens. Just as soon as you come into base contact, they knock you over.
Mahood Cav as well, even though they're low defense, they have that on the charge. They get a strength 4 hit for free as well, and then they have lances and stuff. So,
is a camel 1 or 2 wounds?
One. Yeah.
Don't.
No, you can get like the king and his profile on the big camel. So I thought maybe they'd have 2. Should have 2 humps, 2 wounds.
So this is something like I guess I've used quite a bit. There's a few armies that do it to varying degrees of success, but using cavalry that are mobile, like shooting. Have you played Azog's Hunters, Coach?
Yeah, tons.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember if you've played like mounted or if you're just playing infantry and stuff. Both. Yeah, cool. So give us your thoughts, Coachman, on like using cav as like a mobile shooting.
Oh, right. So I think with that, the best thing straight away is that you can move your half and still almost be moving the same speed as the rest of your army. If you want to move half and shoot and just kind of stay together, you can. Or you can take a turn to move your full like 10.
And then not move at all.
And just ping shots at things. I think, honestly, I prefer to stay away from like cavalry that are specifically there to shoot at things. I'm not a big fan of, just because I think that's a lot of points for something, whereas I could just get 2 bows on foot, right? And then they're probably going to get to shoot almost as many times. So I'm not too fussed.
Yeah, fair enough.
What about you? Outriders are like my favorite unit in the game. The other, but you know.
Have you played much like mounted shooting armies, Bill?
Nah, only pretty much Rohan and Wild Riders. That I took a bow to seal because I was like, I've got 3. I'll take one with a bow, you know. Like there's only runs I've really taken would be throwing weapons, which is another thing. But I haven't really played anything with a bow.
Really,
the same as Coach. Pay you 8 points for the dude on foot that can hide behind a tree and just leave him there all game.
Yeah. I guess that brings us to the next, cavalry role is a dual role, a combo role. So you have things like Rivendell Knights that they're equipped with lances, they're equipped with bows as well, so they can do both things effectively. They're
like an A/B combo.
Lance, shield, bow, elven blade.
Exactly. Do they have elven cloaks? No, they don't have elven cloaks, do they? No.
They also have heavy armor.
Yeah. Other good ones for like the combo shooting. Haradrim Raiders, because they can have the poison war spears and bows.
They're also cheap, which
that'd probably be the only army you would take with shooting because they can go 50-50 on a have.
And don't Hunter Orcs have a 50% bow limit?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. And if you take Azog's Hunters, they get +1 to shoot as well.
That's it. Yeah. The thing with that,
you might as well. You're getting 2 attacks on the way in anyway.
Strength 2 bow. You have an orc bow. Hitting on a 4+ doesn't mean shit if you're still like just a shitty orc bow.
It does if you got Morgul arrows.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have a few of them. I've said it in. I'd have a few shots always, but I wouldn't go like crazy.
Yeah. So I guess we've touched a little bit on war gear, but I guess Cav can have lances. They're the only you can only use them while you're mounted. So it gives you a +1 to wound when you charge. But I think the biggest having the extra attack on the Cav is really, really good. But the knockdown and getting double their like wound rolls, I think that's massive. And that's the big purpose, I guess, for Cav. Do you have anything else? Throwing weapons. Throwing weapons are the really good combos. Go for it, Bill. Hit us with some throwing weapon notes.
I don't really know what to say. I just play them because they just added in there to be cool. I don't really know how to use them really. Here you go, Coach. I'll just add on to you.
We've talked about before how throwing weapons are really, really good on infantry. It's the same thing, but like even arguably more so, especially with I'd say the army that are probably the most like notorious for it is Rohan, and they've got their throwing spears, which have an 8-inch range. So if you really want to be if you want to have no friends, like let's just say keep it family friendly. If you want to have
play Iron Hills,
you can stay 8 inches away from enemy infantry and just throw throwing spears at them constantly. They can't charge you. You can back up to 8 inches away again and just keep throwing your spears at them until you feel like it's the turn you want to charge.
So throwing weapons are the only weapon that you can move full and still shoot them. So cavalry can move 10 inches and still shoot 8 inches with a throwing spear.
Which is
and if you charge, you don't get the negative?
No. If you charge, you get to throw it. You don't get the -1 to hit. So basically, that's another thing. The other useful thing for throwing weapons on cavalry is basically you get a free hit before you're actually engaged in combat. Rohan obviously do it amazing, but Wag Riders can have throwing spears. Who else?
I think
nothing. Nothing much. Mainly just the infantry, like the Corsairs and the Dwarves.
Yeah. As well, the other thing with those is that if you do kill someone with a throwing weapon on wing, you can charge something else. With infantry, that kind of just means, especially if there's a group, that you're just hitting the next thing because that's all you can hit. With cavalry, you can charge one thing, kill it, and then finish your other 5 inches of move, wrap around over there.
Or kill a dude that's blocking something, and it's like, thank you, and then everyone else can get through.
Yeah. It's useful for like peeling off supports and things from other fights. You can use it to engage models that are in base contact with a banner, so that then when you kill the banner, it's got no one to pass it off to. And more importantly, often the people at the back with spears don't always have shields. So it gives you an easier target to kill, especially if you've got a lance. You're going from then 6s becomes 5s, from 5s becomes 4s. So like any little edge you can get where you kill something, way better.
Great at math, but if you knock something over and have 4 attacks needing 4s, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. All right. Any other points on Cav?
I think about Cav, it's like exact same stuff we said for heroes
and infantry.
Yeah.
With
your cavalry, use your movement to your advantage. Make sure you're getting your charges the way.
Another big thing that I just thought of just then, just because you can move 10 inches doesn't mean you always should. And I think that with cavalry, you want to charge on the turn that you don't have priority.
Yep.
So essentially, this is really important. I can't believe I'm only just thinking about this now. But basically, if you have priority, you charge, the enemy gets to then countercharge you. they can use their cavalry and things like that to nullify your charge bonuses. But basically, patience with cavalry is like really, really, that's where they become super, super brutal. When your opponent has already moved and then you charge, you get to pick, and there's no
Don't always charge him in first trying to be a hero. Like, if your stuff will get there first, then your cav will be a lot more better for you against your opponent than... I think, honestly, like, if I'm playing Mordor or whatever, you just let your stuff get there, and to be able to pick off spear supports and even throwing spears and get behind, the next turn they're just stressing out.
Yeah. Cavalry do it the best as well. Like, you don't have to win the game on like turn 3. You know, it could go for 20 turns. You want to kind of use your biggest advantage is your killing power and your maneuverability. You want to make sure that, you know, you're using those strengths. You're not just making sure you can charge on the second turn and then all your cavalry dies. That sucks. Anything else, Bill?
No, I think we pretty much covered most of the pros. Are we doing the cons?
Yeah, you got some cons. Go for it.
Oh, I wrote a few down. I mean, didn't have any whiteboard, coach. I've only got pen and paper. I had to do it while I was waiting for you. There's not too many. There's a few. I only picked this one because I actually didn't know the rule for it and whatever. So, like, descending can be really difficult. Jesus Christ.
Really?
I can't even get it out. Difficult.
Yeah.
For Cav.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
you were telling me about this the other day, and I was just like, huh?
Yeah, so it's like, so if the thing is your height or bigger, for every time, hold on, let me look at here. Yeah, so it's greater than your height, and every time you times it by, you take a strength 3 hit. So if you're going down like 6 inches, it's like, cool, there's 3 strength 3 hits, and it's on both.
Yeah, the mount and the rider.
Like, that's about it. And then lakes, don't take them through lakes in heavy armor, because you'll end up bloody.
Well, I mean, with your, I think they're pretty good. Difficult terrain, obviously, is the biggest con to me.
Yeah.
Hey, here's some other things we didn't even remember to talk about.
If you into one of those, normally stuff that doesn't have woodland creature gets its movement halved. Cavalry in difficult terrain gets its movement quartered. So you actually go from moving 10 to moving 2.5, which sucks. That's
especially when like someone sorcerers blast you into difficult terrain, and you're like, cool, a whole turn of me getting out of here.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a big one, is making sure, and if you're playing against cavalry, be aware of the fact that you can use that stuff to hide from them, because if cav charge into difficult terrain, even if they can hit you with their range, they don't get any charge bonuses. I think the one they get is their lance, maybe.
They get their lance. They don't get their knockdown or
extra attack.
They might even not get. I don't know why I started thinking about that, because I don't actually know. But the other thing, I just thought of something now. I lost it. So no cavalry get the option, but the difference between a horse and an armored horse, and certain army bonuses related to armored horses.
Yeah.
So a horse is obviously defense 3, and an armored horse is defense 5.
Sorry, what?
4. Defense 4. I haven't played a game in
a pony's defense 3.
It's not a heavy armored horse. It's just an armored horse.
They're defense 5, aren't they? Armored horse. Yeah, cool. Obviously, it matters more on heroes, because some heroes you get the option to pick a horse or an armored horse. But neither of you guys have played Easterlings, have you?
No.
Did you?
I never wanted to pay $70 for a box to get 4 pikes. How fun!
Easterling Cav are really, really interesting. The only thing I can see that they have going for them is the fact that they get shield wall on their horses.
You run little fight horses around, and they get defense 6 horses and defense 7 riders.
Very, very good. They lack the two big things, though, that you guys both pointed out. They don't have good strength or lances.
Then you have to pay 2 points to make them fight 4.
Honestly, I would be, because I think Armdur and the Dragon Knights get that role as well.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I think I would just be taking 2 cataphracts per mounted Eastling hero just to have them give the hero the defense bonus. I think that'd probably
or just have like a whole table running around with Kamal. That'd be the only time.
Yeah. The other thing you need to talk about, the thing you need to think about that we haven't talked about as well with Cav, is you need to be careful of shooting. Because basically if you get hit by a missile weapon when you're mounted, it's a 50-50 chance that it's going to hit the rider, 50-50 chance that it's going to hit the mount. So you don't want to just charge headlong into a big old gun line, a big old crossbow formation, because
Especially not at defense 3.
Kills all your cav, and then you have to walk and stuff. So not a fun time. All right, so monsters. What differentiates monsters from other warriors? Phil.
They're this big.
they're huge. Yeah. So what differences like in their profiles and stuff do?
So obviously monsters are stronger. But like when it comes down to like their special rules, cool things, because a monster is double most little fences that you have on a table, so they walk over the fence, stuff like that. So I don't know. Generally, they can be good and they can be bad.
Yeah. Generally, a monster is going to be the same or higher fight value than most heroes.
I'd say higher mostly.
More often than not, yeah. Obviously, a lot higher strength as well.
Yeah,
so
purely looked at stats, all of their stats kind of across the board, except for maybe courage, are quite ridiculously high. Like they have high fight, they have high strength, they mostly have high defense, they have high wounds and attacks. Like as a stat line, they're costed mostly about the price of like a mid to large hero. And for that, like for the price of like a captain, you might get a cave troll, who is for some armies like an elf captain is going to be the same price as a cave troll. And you look at the stats and it's a bit lopsided, but obviously your downsides for monsters, they're bigger, right? Like it's easy to trap them. You can get more models into their base, but their stat lines most of them, like just kind of seem ridiculous if you just look at the numbers on paper.
Yep. You did touch on some of their weaknesses in their profile, Coach. I know Bill plays a lot of low courage armies. Have you played like cave trolls, and have you played many trolls, Bill?
I've only ever played Birder.
Yeah. The sucky thing that I really, really hate is when you've got like a troll or a cave troll and you want to charge it into something big and scary that causes terror. like another troll or like a elf, a ring wraith or something. They're big. Their big weaknesses are definitely their courage, especially late game.
Anything you want to keep them.
Yeah, true. You want to keep them near your heroes late game so that they don't run away. But you talked to Coach about trapping them.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that 3 models can trap any other model in the game?
Aside from models that can't be trapped, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah. So yeah, all it really takes is three warriors to trap any monster, and then you're getting 6 wound rolls on the monster. All it takes is three sixes to kill a cave troll.
I'd say your most common way of dealing with monsters is to put a hero that has strike into your monster. You strike and you trap the monster. So in that turn, and especially if that's a hero that's quite competent by themselves anyway, then they're getting double attack rolls as well. With a lot of bigger heroes, you can just kill a monster in one turn, which I think that is kind of the thing that puts people off of monsters, or has at least in the past, because I know from at least my understanding, a lot of people didn't play too many monsters.
Yeah.
No. At least we got told they were trash, but I've always...
Speaking of that, how do you deal with monsters? Because we didn't really talk about like that. That's a big thing. Not every army has access to monsters, but there's a potential that every army will have to play against it. So if you, in a broad sense, Bill, how would you, if you had to come up against a troll, what's your strategy?
Probably because the way that I use a troll, I don't put too much into trolls, to be honest. Like, if someone's playing a troll, you, like I was saying last video, you can see it coming the whole time. So a lot of the time, even if you have to give it 1 or 2 dudes to kill, the best it can do is barge to get closer. But if you've got a big hero, like Coach was saying, so if you have like a Thrandrel or something like that, and you have like 4 or 5 elves, push like 10 attacks into it, and then cool, it's traps. You have 10, so we'll say not 10 attacks, 8 attacks, 16 attacks. If you can't roll 3 6s and 16 dice, then Jesus Christ,
something wrong with it. Yeah.
Well, it depends what the scenario. So, like, say if it's something and you can get away from it, just run away from it all game. Don't feel that you have to run away from it the whole game. But yeah, it depends what army you're taking to be able to accommodate.
Yeah. Coach, I would say you're the master of the special strike.
I just don't feel them as much as everyone else. I think that's
exactly. Yeah, I always forget about the fact that I can special strike until like halfway through a game. But I've seen you do this really, really well.
I don't even know what you're about to say, but I'll take the compliment in advance.
when you're fighting against, especially a monster, if the monster wins, your warriors are probably dead.
Yeah.
So like, you may as well whack in some 2 hands, double hands. You may as well whack in some piercing strikes.
Whatever. Yeah.
Do your feints or your stabs because the trolls fight 6 or higher, so you're not going to win it on fight. So yeah, I've seen you do that really, really well, where you just like swarm someone and you're like piercing strike, and just like boom.
I think there is like with monsters at the end of the day, despite the fact that most of them have like I think, aside from a few exceptions, like 3 attacks is kind of the minimum, their starting point. Everyone's done it. You can still whiff a 3 dice attack roll. You can still roll like 1, 2, 1,
Yeah.
And then all it takes is one of those turns, and if you can kill the monster in that turn. So I think if you want to kind of limit what they can charge as well and play around that. They have large bases. They're quite clunky. And you don't, half the time you don't want to just throw it in there because then it is just going to get surrounded and trapped. So if you get the opportunity to surround it, I think you want to just throw everything into that turn to try and kill it, especially if it's taken a wound from shooting or something. But I think dealing with them, if you have something with strike, match it up against the monster, try and get it trapped. If you do have some shots that don't have to go into other things, just ping them at the monster, try and get a couple lucky wounds. That's all you really need. And aside from that, just kind of be careful, be aware of what they do, and don't give it too many huge opportunities. Don't leave spots where it can charge 2 or 3 dudes, or get, when we talk about brutal power attacks in a bit, get a hurl that's going to go through like 8 warriors.
Yeah. So let's talk about brutal power attacks. You mentioned Barge earlier, Bill. It's probably my favorite.
Gonna use it all the time.
It's so good. I know what your
start
favorite.
to remove models like, I'm barging. Like,
yeah. It's really useful in our warrior episode. We talked about non-lethal attacks, so being able to shield and stuff like that. Barge is really, really useful because a troll can win a fight against pretty much anything if you roll okay, and you can barge, and instead of getting pushed back 1 inch, you get pushed back 3 inches. And it allows the troll to move D6 extra inches, and if you want, you can fight again. So what do you use Barge for on your monsters, Bill?
Obviously, something like, I think, if you're trying to get through, say, like, you're positioned yourself and I just can't get through, so you're like, cool, just move into this dude and I can barge. So if you win the fight and you barge, you get to move the models. So
that's another good point.
Yeah, you get to move the models, and it's spear supports as well. So it's like, boom, I can move you out the way, because you can pre-measure, obviously, so you can see if you can fit, whatever, and you can get yourself through, and you can hit someone's captain that they were trying to hide before, and then you get to attack again. So it's like you can have 2 chances to get yourself there, and then get their hero, because they're like, oh, I'll just pop him there, stuff you won't win that fight. It's like Barge, just like, oh shit, I forgot they had that.
Yeah. You can use that to kill, like if there's 2 heroes fighting you and you get lucky enough to...
You can barge off one and hit the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really useful for breaking through and getting banners. What about your favorite?
Getting into more things if you need to.
Yeah,
if they just hit you with one dude and it's like, oh, cool. You got a couple of Merkwood Rangers over there. I'll just hit the 2 there. Thanks. Cool.
Late game, it's good for moving things away from objectives and stuff as well, or out of stand fast range.
Yeah, just barge and stand on an objective. Cool.
Yeah. Your favorite coach?
Hell, it like definitely used to be. Less so now because it got a little bit nerfed.
It can still be pretty brutal.
Oh yeah, it's still awesome, but I think so. It used to be you'd roll d6 and add the difference between your strength. Between the thing you were hurling and your monster, they changed to d3.
You pick up one of the warriors and you just like piff them.
Now it's from the center of your base.
Yeah.
So you have to face.
You used to be able to pick whatever it was and rotate it wherever on your base you wanted. Now it's just down the middle of your base.
So when you roll up, you have to turn your model to where you want to throw them. All right, cool.
Yeah,
I've played it so many different ways. House rules.
I'll see in the rule book. I hope there's like a good little diagram, and I'll put that up in the corner and stuff that demonstrates really, really well. But yeah, you have to position yourself really carefully if you want to hurl, and sometimes you just like, I'll just do a hurl. But if you're really clever, and once again, coach, you do this like really, really well. If you can set up for a sick...
this one.
Look, we've made fun of you for the last like 10 videos, so you get one. But yeah, positioning your hurl. What do you use your hurls? What do you use your hurls for, coach?
So normally if there's any way, my favorite one is if you can hit whether it's a cav or a warrior or whatever, and you can line yourself up, because a lot of people don't look for this stuff. If you can line yourself up so that your hurl is going to throw their model into a mounted character, that's the best, because that means you're going to 100% if your hurl hits them, makes contact,
and then they roll a 1
wounds, they're off their mount. They're like on the ground.
Yep.
So they take a knocked flying test.
Yes,
or is it a knocked? So it's knocked flying straight away as soon as you get hit by a hurled model. Yeah, cool.
Maybe.
You keep going. I'll look.
I'll just. But they're instantly dismounted, and that's the most important thing.
Because we talked before in our hero video about how good mounted heroes are, especially like the difference between a hero on foot and a mounted hero is not just the 10 points for a horse or whatever.
So what's what strength is a Mordor troll?
7.
And
6?
a regular warrior is strength 3. So you're hurling them 4 plus D3. So you're hurling them.
Getting 5 minimum.
Yeah, 5 inches. This is another sick thing. Not only mounted heroes, but if somebody's got their cavalry line and their cavalry are nicely in a line,
just
oh man.
The other one as well that's really useful, especially in the new edition of the rules, is if you can hurl something into a banner before fights happen around the banner, even if you don't kill the banner, you knock it prone and then it doesn't affect anything because it's knocked prone. And a lot of people like move all their stuff, and whenever you're moving all your stuff, you think about 101 things. Oh, what if do I need to hero combat here? Blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people forget that there's a troll there. I'll just like feed him one dude, or I'll just leave one guy there that he can charge. And just forget things like that. So you find a lot of heroes actually line up quite easily if you're looking for them. But
yeah, I guess it's really,
as long as you're not over strength 6, isn't it? It stops.
Yeah.
So if a hurl gets hurled into a fell beast, it stops because it's strength 6 or higher.
Yeah.
But if you get
5 warriors, imagine that.
5 warriors.
Yeah.
Hey, there's only room on this table for 1 fell beast. Get off yours.
and as well, if you're the monster player and you have priority, you can do that monster's hurl first, knock down a heap of infantry, so that then all your other attacks then get double attacks because the models are prone.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Really, really good. Barge hurl. Rend. Rend is another. That is
Rend is
character killing.
Barge is my favorite, but there's nothing better than just getting a nice, tasty rend. So basically, rend is really good because instead of wounding against the target's defense, you wound against their strength. Basically, like you're just like twisting him and ripping him in half. It's sick because most heroes look, there's some that are strength 5, but most heroes are going to be strength 4. So that means you're wounding on 3s with most monsters.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Doesn't matter. You can be a defense 9 dwarf king, but if you get rendered 3s to wound, like that's ridiculous. The only drawback for that is you can only target one model though. So you've got to
That's all
use
you're
that.
doing, though.
That's it. You're going after that Gilgalad. If Gilgalad loses a fight, like boom, you're crushed.
Good lads.
Rend, hurl, barge. Is that it?
There we go. Hold on. Barge,
Bill.
hurl, rend. That's it.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about what are we talking about? Monster heroes.
Yeah.
Monsters.
That's the next one.
So Bill said he's used Birder. So what makes a hero monster? Obviously, it's pretty obvious, but they've got might. Why is that important?
Obviously, because having a troll or using something like that, they're either going to run away from you or they're going to hit it with your big hero. So being fight 7 and something's fight 6 and they roll a 6, it's like, oh shit, we showed a point of might here because I'll absolutely mince you. Or sometimes heroic moves, I don't like doing them with trolls. I'd rather leave it for the fight because usually there's some big character like what's his name? Is it Elendil? Is he the one that's fight 7? It's like, hey, cool. I don't want to lose a fight against you because you're going to kill me.
Yeah. So
you leave your points of might for that. They have fate, so it makes a troll have 4 wounds theoretically.
Yep.
And I think Birdo's only got March and Strength. I think that's it.
Doesn't he have Strike?
I don't think so. I'll have to read the book.
Yeah,
I only
he
used
does.
him once. I used him
I think
once
he
and
does.
got shot by an Iron Hills ballista and it lasted like a turn. I was like, great.
Well, Iron Hills
Never used it again.
That's our favourite thing around here.
Never tell Steve
Yeah.
that a re-roll is once. Rolls a 3. Oh, no, sorry, rolls a 1 and then 4. Boy, he's dead. Hey, I never knew that rule.
Oh, I promise I won't shoot Shelob.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, good one.
We're just having a fun game. I won't shoot my Iron Hills Blister at your Sheila, especially not on turn 1. I won't do it. Sorry, she's dead. Get your favorite model off the fucking
Oh,
pack.
actually, I lied. She's getting shot turn on.
Bleep me there. I got too emotional.
So
You should have thrown it at him. You would have killed him with that model. That's
just stab him in the eye. So what? Like, there's quite a lot of hero monsters. Surprisingly, like the more you kind of think about it and stuff. I guess. What are some of your favorites, Coach? Your favorite hero monsters?
I think my silly, just for like my favorite for fun, Sheila, but probably overall my favorite one, just because I've been using it for bloody forever now. Mordor Troll Chieftain. It's a simple, like the stat line is really good. It's just a strong monster, and then you took that thing and you gave it Might, Will, and Fate. And I think
an extra
and it
point
goes to defense 8.
fight as well.
No, it's defense. It's
It
defense.
goes to defense
Okay.
8. That's like, hey, cool, 6s by 4s.
Yeah, I think the thing with monster heroes, all of them, whether like Gulliver's probably the best example because he flies, and dragons because they fly. Anything that can fly, it makes it so much worse. But being able to use, for example, heroic moves and heroic combats to affect the positioning of where this giant wrecking ball thing is on the table, on top of being able to barge, hurl, and rend. Can't combat and barge in the same turn, but I believe you can combat and do the other 2 in the same turn.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
So you could charge 2 dudes, call heroic combat, mince both of them, wrap around the side, and then just chuck someone.
Yeah.
Or you can heroic combat so that your hurl happens first, and you get to knock people on the ground. I think there's a lot of really cool interactions with having might and your brutal power attacks. But overall, it's heroes are really good, monsters are really good. They're really
Best
good.
of both worlds, yeah. And the fact that the thing that you want to have in your army, like a troll or a troll chief, like it can lead your warriors as well. Like
you're not worrying about dropping someone or trying to fit that into a warband. It is leading the warband.
That's the word, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I know one of everyone's favorites is the Cave Drake. Fight 6, 1 might, 4 attacks, 3 attacks, 4 on the charge, and has knockdown.
7 or something?
6 wounds. Yeah, like crazy. But a lot of the monsters also have a decent amount of will, because the other way you deal with monsters is you use ring wraiths or Gandalf or Radagast and just immobilize them, just stop them from doing things. So a lot of those, what? Oh, did I freeze again? Sick. My fave.
I wasn't even watching.
Having will means you're less prone to being nullified by magic, and a lot of the monsters have resistance to magic as well.
A lot of them,
yeah.
Going to the Cave Drake page, I think I'm more scared of the Watcher on the next page.
The Watcher is one of my favorites. In that game that we played on the channel, Coach,
deploys with it wherever it wants. Like, I'm here.
Link that somewhere, because that is a brilliant game of Lord of the Rings.
That is, as far as like monsters and stuff. That's a masterpiece. Bill, you've done your research in this.
Have I?
Your war beasts.
Oh yeah, I can tell you.
As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. There's only 2 war beasts, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mumak and the Great Beast of Gorgoroth. Cool. All right, hit us, Bill. You got your notes.
No, I haven't got too many notes. Well, I haven't really used a Mumak before, so I'll do that second. But Great Beasts, they can be good, and they're more funny than they are scary for your opponent, I think. Like, 150 points for a Great Beast can, like, last time we played, Coach, funny. That was that's why you take them, because they can do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. So their one of their big advantages is, well, they're a monster. They got lots of attacks and whatever, but they have impact hits when they charge. So you move into base contact with something, you stop, and they take, depending on the monster, they take hits. And if you kill things, you get to keep moving.
Stampede is the word.
Stampede. Thank you.
There you go. I wrote that down.
Before we talk too much, though, the biggest differences between regular monsters and war beasts. Your war beasts, both of them have lower fight values than your average monster, but they do have more wounds.
And the dudes on top,
they lose a bit of their. You're not going to hit your. It's not like your Mortal Troll where he's going to run around killing things because he's high fight. They're going to walk through things and hopefully run them over. And if they don't, if they get stuck in a prolonged combat, they get in a bit of a trouble like that way, because they're not guaranteed to just roll high and win a fight.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I think the other difference, they can't hurl.
It's true. Yep.
And it says, it's worded saying unless it specifically states in their profile, but the 2 war beasts in the game, it doesn't say that.
It's just future proofing, I guess.
They're not allowed to hurl as it is now, and also have a lot more. They have a lot of wounds generally as well.
The only bad thing about them is I only read that war beasts cannot go with anyone else's heroic moves. They can only go from benefit from themselves, or if you call one with a war beast, then everyone else can benefit. So if your captain calls it, your war beast just sits there, but then your troll can go.
Yeah.
Having said that, you can use that the same way. I think the only other character that could do something similar is that the orc Snagger.
Snagger. Yeah.
Snagger, Bunning Snagger.
You could call a heroic move with something and move your stuff, and then your opponent has to move knowing that your giant Mumakil hasn't actually moved yet and could just turn through all that stuff.
Even with them anyway, you're probably going to use the Great Beast 2 points anyway to move, because you want it to move its full 8 and 150 points. So if you're not killing, say, 2 dudes a turn for 6 to 7 turns, then I probably wouldn't take one.
I think they're really useful as well. Like, not only are they like a super powerful battering ram, but the fact that they have crew and that ride them, and you can shoot without having any modifiers. Their battle platform special rule. I think that's quite cool as well.
And they've especially always theoretically in cover, because you're always covered by the Howder.
Yeah. 150 points for the Great Beasts of Gorgoroth. Like, it has 9 orcs with bows, which they're 6 points each.
8, one with the spear at the front.
Yeah, like they're 6 points each, so that's like you're only paying 100 points for the Great Beast of Gorgoth, so it's the same points as a troll. That's really, really cool.
I mean, the Moomac, that's just got the different stats for Stampede.
Crew?
A lot more scarier.
Yeah.
Can the
a lot
crew
more points, though.
in the Great Beast, can they disembark?
Only once the Great Beast dies.
Okay. Because you can...
Or unless you get Sorcerer Blast off the top. That's the only way you can disembark.
Yeah, you can buy an upgrade for your Moomac, which lets you guys jump out. So theoretically, it can move to an objective, clear things out, drop people on it, and then keep moving.
Also useful as well when things charge the Moomac, your half trolls can jump out and peel those off.
SWAT team half trolls can
go.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah. I was talking about that the other day with
just
somebody.
Rolling sixes. Oh, yep, cool in the combat.
Yeah. Imagine just how horrendous is that?
There is also one. Well, I guess they're all heroes, right? They're all because they all have a leader on them, so they're all technically heroes. But there's also the big Moomac as well. That's probably worth mentioning. The Grand
the Moomac War Leader.
Yeah, Moomac War Leader. There you go. The Grand Moomac.
The Grand Poobah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what my brain was.
It's definitely the one Legolas kills. It's the only one you see the dude on top, and then he three banger.
I can't remember the rules exactly. It's just a Moomac with like a lot of the upgrades. The guy on the back has a
400 points,
and I know exactly what you're about to put your hand up and say.
Yeah.
I believe it's on a 4+. You get to cancel the first. Oh, it wasn't even the same thing. You get to cancel the first heroic move your opponent makes around you, like within 12 inches or something. Which is ridiculous because they're going to try and heroic move to stop you running them over, and you get to say no, and you wasted your point of might, like you've spent it.
What I was going to say is it can also heroic strike.
If it fights their leader, right? That's the thing.
Yeah. Horrendous. So we've got one more little bracket to cover, and it's something we forgot to mention, but it'll go together. So monstrous mounts and monsters with monstrous charge. So basically, if you're a monstrous mount, so you have like you're a fell beast with a Nazgul on top, you get the cavalry bonuses. So having talked about cavalry, you get the knock to the ground and extra attack special roll. Now with cavalry, you only knock down infantry, but with monstrous mounts or monsters with monstrous charge, what is it, Coach?
Anything lower strength than you.
Lower strength than you. So what strength is a fell beast?
6.
6. That's dumb. So you're knocking down cavalry. Hey, Theoden's on a horse. Get off your horse. So that's really, really cool. What do you use monstrous mounts and stuff any differently to regular monsters, Bill?
Not really, because you don't like obviously being a fell beast, the one you talked about before. You don't really want yourself getting caught where you don't want your fell beast. I do it all the time. I'll just fly over the back and kill this one dude and get stuck.
Yeah,
like that can really stuff you up. But most of the time, like if you're taking the Witch King on a fell beast, you're going to want to use that ability to get your points back, as well as knock over. Say you're playing Rohans, you're playing all these cav. Pick one dude up and, as Coach said, throw it. Cool. Everyone's knocked off your horse within, what are they, strength 3, 5, 6 inches. You can hit 4 or 5 horses. Cool.
Yeah.
Kill the dude and kill 4 or 5 horses.
The ability to move 12 and move over things means you're less likely to kind of like trap yourself, so you can kind of position a lot better down the end of like a cavalry charge line or something.
So
go, Coach.
Watcher.
Go, Coach.
Felbeast is the most common monstrous mount.
Yeah.
What by far? Because if you see a ring wraith, like I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 times, it's probably on a Felbeast.
Yeah.
Unless they're the Hobbit ones, don't go there. But outside of Felbeasts, there's Radagast, Eagle. Are there any other monstrous mounts?
No.
Not really. Everything else just has monstrous charge.
Yeah. So things like cave drakes and dragons and.
Does Bjorn have monstrous charge?
No.
When he turns into the bear?
No.
We've had this before. We all think he should, but he does.
That would be way too good.
But the watch is the stupidest one. It's like, hey, I just pop up next to your Cav.
Yeah. The Watcher.
Yeah, the watch.
Never played it. Seen some very funny games.
Yeah.
It only gets its monster's charge while it's in water.
Yes. So yeah.
The whole time was water. What are you talking about?
Do Eagles have monstrous charge now as well, don't they? Like just regular Eagles?
Yeah. Is that their army bonus or is that just in their rules?
I think it's in their rules. With their army bonuses, they get +1 strength.
No, they get woodland creature.
No, they get +1
They
strength.
go through forest.
They just have the monstrous charge special rule.
Yeah, that's quite good. So they have 2 attacks. When they charge, they get 3. And their strength 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they get +1 strength when they charge from their army bonus, though.
That's really good because you can knock down cave trolls.
Kill trolls, kill normal trolls on 4s. Hey, gotcha.
Sheila also has monstrous charge, which is really good because she starts with 1 attack.
Yeah. Being able to just use her to pick off cav and hit mounted heroes and stuff.
And again, she's strength 7, so if anything strength...
Is she the one where she gets wounded and runs, or is that the Spider Queen?
That's Sheila. Sheila does that.
Yeah.
But she has 6 wounds, so...
Well, I think that's everything we've talked. Like we've talked about everything we need to. So to wrap up the video,
are we going to do the for the day? Are we?
Get you to pick your favorite cav of the day, and your favorite monster. So we're going to go cav first.
Not like specifically the different things, just your favorite monster.
Favorite monster.
And everyone has a different opinion.
We all will, obviously, because we're all idiots. So favorite cav, Coachman.
I went first last time with this. I'm gonna have a.
I'll go first. So my favorite cav.
Just look at the book.
So last time in the warrior profile, I picked the best, but my favorite. I'm gonna. Oh, hello. You right there, mate?
Yeah, mate. Just having a stroke reading my book.
We had another minor earthquake just then, apparently.
The chair fell over out the back.
So my favorite cav model is Rivendell Knights.
Oh yeah, last time I picked the best one. This time I'm picking my favorite one. It just happens to be the best one.
Look,
no, it's not the best one.
They're the Swiss. They're the Swiss Army elves. They have everything. They're high defense. They've got bows. They've got lances. They've got elven blades. It's literally a Swiss Army knife. Elrond's just handing them out. They've got a tool for every job. I think they're the best. They're my favorite cav in the game. And they're elves, so they're high fight as well.
Ready to go, or are you going?
You go, Bill. Said you're going to pick the best one, apparently.
Billy,
yeah,
there you go.
I think the best one, never played against him a lot. I think probably the Iron Hills goats, only because when you can, if you can hit 2 people and then knock them over, and then they're both knocked over, and double roll. Fight 4, strength 4.
Yeah.
Defense, what are they on a goat?
6?
Cool. I know there are 20 points. But
when you charge at the start of the fight, like when you complete the charge, each model you bank it into base contact with, on a 5+, they're not prone before the fight starts. That's amazing. And they've got lances.
So you can then knock something over, and then something else can charge the knocked over.
And bloody goats get to move over all terrain except forests. They can climb vertical surfaces.
Move 8, so they're much less than regular cats.
Didn't you see them in the movie? They're good goats.
That's true.
I reckon Rivendell's better. Rivendell's all way better. Favorite cavalry model. Well, I mean, I already said Outrider's my favorite warrior model, but I'm going to pick something different for the sake of that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I don't actually use many cavalry warriors a whole lot.
What? Yeah, you do.
What?
Yeah, bloody hunter orcs.
I haven't used them in ages.
It's true.
That was actually
they're not good anymore.
Oh, dude, they're so good. Shut up.
I was saying that's why I'm not using them. Good, apparently. I think
Quick Game's a good game.
I think I will say, just because they're the one I've used the most and had the most experience with, the Hunter Orcs on Wargs. Mostly because with all of my Hunter Orc stuff, I originally started doing it with specifically Azog, but then I realized that I can do it with all of my warriors as well. Dismounting and having the chance to get an extra model as well. And in your Hunter Orcs, you do lose your cavalry when you do that, but
you still get 2 attacks.
The Hunter Hawk itself gets 2 attacks on foot, and then you have a wire that can run around.
And charge around corners because it doesn't need to be able to see things.
Right. Thank you. That's incredible. Being able to charge without having to see things first is really, really cool. Because even if you are within, say, 6 inches of something, you can put yourself in a position where they can't see you to charge you, but you can come sprinting around that corner and knock them over without.
Or you can do the sneaky where you can hide it around the corner where your opponent doesn't see, and then just buzz around the corner. Yeah. All right. Let us know in the comments what your favorite cavalry is. But who wants to start monsters?
Do we go in reverse order?
Go for it, Coach. Go for it.
I'm actually going to say my favorite monster is the Felbeast.
Felbeast. Okay.
It's only available as a mount for ring race, but I think
because they're feral.
That's the special rule they get. Purely because of how I think ring race by themselves are okay, and Dion and I have had this conversation so many times over the bloody years. But I think ring race by themselves are okay, but just like with any other hero, you're going to want to mount it. And by the time you buy your ring race and armored horse, you're paying 35 points more to upgrade from an armored horse to a Felbeast, and at that point, just do it.
But then while you're there, you might as well pay the extra for the armored Felbeast.
No,
he's already got you in for the cut and polish. You might as well.
Then you may as well just take the ring, take the Witch King Rangmar, and max him out while you're there.
Yeah, mate.
It'd be really good.
Going from 55 points to 200. Yeah. Anyway.
Never played him. I don't know.
With the ring wraith on the Felbeast, it goes from being something that you're just going to run around the back line and use to cast magic and have its big aura debuff and stuff to all of a sudden you can still do that, but you're much more maneuverable doing that.
Be a threat as well.
Flying on top of buildings and like towers and stuff really annoys people if they can't get to you.
Oh yeah, if you're up in a 2-story building and you put your Felbeast on top, that's very annoying.
Black dot a banner from up there, like little sniper attack. But being able to, and like Bill said, you got to be careful with it, but being able to move over things and charge things and all that, it all of a sudden makes your little ring wraith go from this 100-point-ish investment that is going to run around and cast a few spells for the whole the game to something that could theoretically, if you transfix a big hero, I don't really care who they are. If they're transfixed, you can charge them. If you win that round of combat, you knock them over even if they're mounted because you're on a monstrous mount, and you rend them and they're bloody dead. I think, and that's awesome. And it makes you actually be able to use it for combat, which is much more fun. I think just having a caster hero is kind of boring to me. Like, they're really good, but I think it's kind of boring. So being able to then use them to fight and be engaged in combat makes it much more fun for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fair. William.
I haven't really played too many besides from Mordor. I mainly play Horde, but my favourite, I don't know.
Troll Chieftain.
Yeah, it's either Troll Chieftain or the Great Beast, only because I think the Great Beast is funnier because you can run, so you can stampede, do what you're going to do, kill 2 dudes, run into a dude, and it's like, oh, cool, combat phase. It's like, you know what, I don't even want to fight you. I'm just going to shoot at you with 6 bows and kill your dude, and then just stand there because you can.
And you can also run over your own models to end a game.
Yep,
that you
heard that. Yeah, Bloke told me that a couple of weeks ago.
It's also really good, like, if a hero charges your Great Beast, you can shoot at their horse.
Shoot his mount,
and then when he gets dismounted, he can only strike blows in the combat if he rolls a 6 on his dismount check. So, like, either they're rolling a 6, or they're not fighting, or they're tempted to spend might and stuff. Like, that's huge. So good. Great Beasts are really good fun to use. I guess my favorite monster, I've used it like tons. I haven't used it a lot lately, but I have been thinking about dusting it off again. It's the Watcher in the Water. I really, really wish it wasn't the Watcher in the Water and I could take 2 of them. But it's, oh my God, if you've never played or seen a Watcher in the Water, I will try to find the video and link the video. It's so sick. But basically, it doesn't deploy on the board, and you roll a 3+ and it gets to turn up whenever you want. But you push the enemies and friendly models out the way. You get to place it wherever you want. So you can literally disrupt somebody's entire army, move their war machines.
Choose not to put it on the table?
Once you decide to start rolling, you have to keep rolling.
Yeah. But you can choose not to, or you just, if you've passed, you have to put it on the table.
You have to put it on. Yeah.
Although you do have a brutal power, its own unique brutal power attack. If it's in a water feature, it can drag one man-sized model down into the water with it, and it comes back off the table, and then you can pop it back up anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
so good. Any man-sized.
So you just pick up Boromir and then just be like, you're over there, fuck you.
No, they die.
Oh!
Yeah.
I thought it was just like, and then it pops up over there like, oh, you can go hang in the trees.
3+ to wound, and if the wound goes through, they're dead.
It seriously just goes 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, all the stats.
Yeah. Fight 6,
fight,
attacks,
strength,
6.
defense, attacks, wounds.
It's got D6 shooting attacks.
Its shooting attack might be the best shooting attack in the game.
Hits on a 3+, ignores in the way checks, and if it doesn't kill you, it drags you into combat with it.
Have you ever played it on PlayStation 2? It is hardcore. When you go beat it at the start of the 2.
Yeah. I saw
it.
At Silmaril, there was a doubles game, and there was a Watcher in the water on the Osgiliath table, and it was the Watcher and whatever, I can't remember.
Was that your game, Coach?
It might have been me.
I reckon it was your game.
No. There was Rohan.
Yeah.
That was Coach. I was there. That was a salty
then,
game. That was a great game.
Théoden was sitting on the edge of the like docks. Hit it right. Would have shot Théoden, pulled him into the water and stuff. I'm frozen again. Just pull like your heroes into the water and just like drown them and. Oh
and
man!
It was Drass's game because it was Théoden was pulled in, and then Éowyn had to run into the water because he had died. Remember that? And she had to run into the water because he had died because she had to get as close as she could to him.
It wasn't my game, man. But
that was Drass's game. I do remember that. He's like, watch this, and it's just this horse running towards the water because he pulled him into the water.
Oh boy.
That's why you play monsters, because you can do stupid things like that.
It's good fun. Yeah.
I think they have some of the most unique rules in the game, and all of the monsters are quite different, and their stat lines vary crazily.
And from a hobby perspective, it gets boring painting like 40 just infantry dudes. Sometimes it's fun to just paint an Ent or, some eagles or a troll. I love it. So good.
And we always do a better job because they're bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And they're a good centerpiece. Last thoughts?
I think that's about it.
It's about covered.
I think we finally actually did it well.
Let us know what your favorite monster is in the comments. I reckon the next talkie video we'll do in the Dubious Counsel series will be a army analysis. I've already had 3 requests for Gondor, Mordor, and Rohan.
So chuck more down in the.
So yeah, if you have questions, want us to do. What'd you say, Coach?
You like lagged out mid speaking. It was like you were like a machine gun. You were shooting
like that dude.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know. Let us know what you want us to cover and talk about. Join our Discord.
Just have a chat. Even if you're new or old or just love.
I'm old. So
and Coach is young. I'm in the middle.
Follow us on Instagram. Bill, what's your Instagram?
So @bristles. So _bristles.
And
big
hardcore.
You can't miss it.
Hardcore_hobby. Coach, you got an Instagram yet? We haven't pressed it yet.
I need to work on that, don't I?
All right. You got to actually paint models first, otherwise.
Yeah, give us an army to talk about. Put Coach on the spot. I'll do my notes, and we won't tell him. Stuff him.
These Dubious Counsel videos are starting to pick up traction and stuff, and we're getting lots of new subscribers and viewers and stuff. So thanks, guys, for jumping on board.
100%.
Like, share, and subscribe, blah, blah, blah. I always said to Steve, I'll never say that on a video. I'll never tell people to subscribe and like our videos. But
make sure Nicole puts little icons down the bottom there.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Coach?
Do you know what? Never mind. It's gone. It was there. It's gone.
We should have written it down. You wouldn't have forgotten.
Chill out, Radagast. You need a whiteboard.
I do.
Classic.
Now it's
I'll
gonna
get you one. Oh, hopefully we can get a game in before the next one.
come back. Yeah. So just a kind of question for everyone. This format when we're recording is has happened mostly because it's easier, and also because for a while here we were only allowed to do this. We couldn't come hang out. Now that's kind of lifted a bit, and we could theoretically catch up in person. There's a few older videos on the channel where we've been sitting down talking through stuff together. Would you guys prefer if this was all us hanging out in a room, sitting together, talking through things, or do you guys mind if it stays this way, where we get laggy Dion every 2 seconds?
I have to wear pants if I come to your house, though.
I'm leaving on that.
It's winter. I'm wearing pants.